All right, welcome to Postgame Live, brought to you by your New England Ford dealers. Well, look at this. The Patriots beat the Miami Dolphins 23-21. The Patriots are now 8-8. The Dolphins are 8-8, but the Patriots control the number 7 spot, 7th and final playoff spot in the AFC. And so we've got plenty to talk about today. We got Tommy Curran. We've got Ted Johnson. Matt Cassel will join us as well. Michael Holley in for Amina Smith. And Tom Curran, tell me, what do you think about this game?
I think the key to this game came when you saw Kyle Duggar with a pick six, because not only did it put the Patriots ahead 16-14, it also wiped out Teddy Bridgewater and brought on Skylar Thompson, who's the next log in the backup quarterback fire that the Patriots have decimated over the course of the season. If you like Patriots football, you're happy today because you have a chance at the playoffs. And if you're from the New England area, as far as you know, you win championships. It doesn't matter how you get them. But if you're somebody who might figure that this team could use a better draft pick and maybe didn't look so hot in this type of a game, Ted, I let you take it over.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that feel that way, Tom. But I'm going to say shame on you, because you try to win these football games. I don't care how bad the season's been looking. This is a good win. This is a good win. I know it was against maybe a backup quarterback to a backup quarterback, but still, nonetheless, I mean, I thought the offense came out looking good. Maybe their best opening drive of the season. The defense made plays like it has been all season long. They have a chance to go to the playoffs, playing Buffalo next week. To me, boys, this was a good win for the Pats.
You feel differently than you did last week in a narrow loss to Cincinnati, even though that was a better team, because they at least came out with some piss and vinegar.
Oh, absolutely. And if they win, you mentioned Buffalo and the playoff situation. If they win in Buffalo next week, and that's a big if, they're in the playoffs. Matt Cassel, watching this game, what was your biggest takeaway from the result?
Well, I just thought the team came out and they got hot offensively early, and then they cooled off, but it was the spark of Kyle Duggar and that interception. It was back-to-back possessions with interceptions. And then once again, it was the drive late in the fourth quarter. Mac Jones made that beautiful throw on 3rd and 5 to Jacoby Myers. A little hole shot, took the arc out, went down the field, was able to put points and score that final touchdown. It wasn't pretty the entire time, but again, the defense, I was really impressed with the way that they stepped up, holding Jalen Waddle, I think only 3 catches, Tyreek Hill only 3 catches, and you know what the situation was in terms of their secondary and everybody being out really for them, and Jonathan Jones obviously getting hurt late. But overall, I just thought it was a great team victory. They hung with it, and they came out of there with a must win.
Cassel said great team victory. Ted said earlier, this is a good win. Curran, I didn't hear your assessment. Is this a good win?
It's a good win. It's still a maddeningly idiotic team at key junctures. I mean, for a timeout to be called as Tyquan Thornton is standing there naked and alone, ready to catch a touchdown pass. Yeah, the Patriots escaped. There's so many buts. Yeah, but they still scored the touchdown to Jacoby Myers. And I don't blame them for that. Hey, the Patriots won with a diminished secondary. Yeah, but Teddy Bridgewater, who's an okay backup, got wiped out, and you barely held on against Skylar Thompson. So there's all these buts that are incorporated with a team that is pursuing a playoff spot. So it's but central. It's the year of the but.
Yeah, and I was tired of saying but, so I went strong on the positive. And,
yeah, I gave you a little.
And I still am positive.
But you want to get in there.
Now that we've opened that can of
jump on the pile.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, I mean, so there's I would say one thing that is obvious in this game is that the Miami Dolphins were complicit in this loss, like they have been in some of the Patriots wins. 9 penalties they had, 3 of them extended drives that led to 2 Patriots touchdowns. So I just want to point out the Miami Dolphins were complicit.
But didn't the Patriots do that as well, Cassel? I mean, you think about it. They had Miami getting off the field on 4th down. It was 4th and 6, running to the kicker. Now it's 4th and 1. They convert to 4th and 1, and that led to their first touchdown, 13-play drive. They get a touchdown. And then Trent Brown with this very fancy Dr. Seuss outfit today. He had yet another penalty. I think that's his 12th, 13th penalty on the season. So the Patriots had some issues too, right?
They definitely had some issues. Even in the second touchdown that the Miami Dolphins scored, it was set up by a short field. It was one reverse. It was a 24-yard skinny post to Jalen Waddle, one of his 3 catches of the day. But they set them up for that drive. It wasn't anything that they really had to work for. They just had 2 plays and moved themselves down into the position to go in and punch in that second. So both teams had their faults, but at the end of the day, the Patriots were able to outlast them. The defense stepped up in big moments, and even the offense, when they needed a drive late in the game, they were able to put one together.
So just going to tell you how the sausage gets made a little bit. Our producer, Jeff Capitosto, said any plays that you want me to throw up, I'll do that. I want to ask Matt Cassel about the fourth down, lay down. What in God's name is the sentiment behind having Mac Jones basically on the cusp of field goal range, not throw the ball, not kick the field goal, not punt it and pin him deep, but just run around and if anything looks awry, just lay down. This is the second game in a row we've seen him kind of lie down and get away from a situation. I'm not blaming him. It's just the play call there. Do something.
Well, the situation right there, it's man coverage. You're trying to get a pick for Tyquan Thornton. That's why you saw him do that on the motion. But I think it was the offensive tackle right here, or maybe the guard. Yeah, Michael Winnow gets beat right away. And the play is this. If you have Tyquan Thornton, it's a one-man route. You can throw it to him, but you're protecting the ball at all costs in this situation. So, but for him, if he's not open, you can either throw the ball away, but I think he felt pressure and said, you know what, I'm going to protect the football, lay down, take the sack, let our defense come out and play.
I'm not blaming
I know what you're saying. I put a big question mark next to the play call as well, but I understand from a situational standpoint, they don't want to overcomplicate things. They had to protect the football. They didn't want to run it. If one guy's open, great. If not, lay down, take the sack, and we'll let the defense come out and try to finish off the game.
I'm not second guessing Mac Jones. It's just there's so many instances in which you see the Patriots scared of their own shadow or saying, well, Murphy's Law, if something can go wrong, it will, as we saw at halftime, really. You generated a little bit before halftime. So if this is a playoff team, it can't be as scared of being able to execute as it appears to be, yet they are scared of being able to execute in the name of trying to get the win in the barn.
That's what it's been all season, Tom.
I know, but
I hear you, and it's probably an appropriate time. I think if they had to win today to have a chance to win to go to the playoffs, they did that, and so now we get to watch till next week. But they've been doing that all season long. I mean, the passive kind of play calling on both sides of the ball, being very defensive in how you approach these games, I think it's hurt the team all season long. So not surprised they in a game that they won, they were still doing those passive kind of defensive type calls,
which is what irritates people.
But in that situation, that's the right call. You're up by 2 scores.
Well, what I'm saying
you're
is
up by 2 scores. You're protecting.
It irritates people to see a team on the cusp of the playoffs be afraid of its own shadow. And that's where I do understand people saying, offensively, yeah. And that's where I do understand people who say, this is not a playoff team. They don't deserve to call themselves one when they're that afraid of their own shadow. I personally say, the more you can succeed, the better. It's a fan base. It's an entertainment business. You're not into sending messages and learning lessons for the football team.
But you know what?
It's maddening to see them still so scared.
I wonder if you guys see it this way, and I want to get your take on this, Ted. Scheme-wise, they're conservative. They're conservative scheme-wise
because they're afraid.
But they're not instinctive necessarily with their playmakers. Whereas defensively, they might be conservative defensively, but they have so many instinctive players, including the guy who put them in position to even have this win, and that's Kyle Duggar with this 3rd defensive touchdown of the season. Yeah. I mean, that turned it around. So if we talk about the team and say, hey, they're scared of their own shadow, I think we got to be more specific because defensively, I don't really see that.
Give the ball back to our defense.
I think there are to some degree. I mean, I look at the defense, the Buffalo game, the Cincinnati game, and even this game for the most part, they were basically giving you anything you wanted underneath. Well, Buffalo Bills, because they were worried about, get big plays deep. So the Patriots said, all right, you're going to have to dink and dunk down the field. Well, Buffalo did it and beat you. Cincinnati did it and beat you. Miami, if Teddy Bridgewater doesn't get hurt, might have done it too. So there is a conservative nature, I think, on the defense and how they call games against these bigger offenses. Like, okay, yeah, you can sit there and look at Jalen Waddle didn't have a very good game and Tyreek Hill. But at the end of the day, a better team that has a better quarterback can manage those situations better, and they can beat you death by 1,000 paper cuts.
So you got to take it up a little bit.
You got to take it up.
But you got to also look at the Bengals game. What are you talking about? In the second half of the Bengals game, they didn't pee a drop at all in the second half.
You can't give the Bengals 17 points to start the game, though, Matt.
And that's what I'm saying. It was a tale of 2 halves, though. It was a tale of 2 halves, and I understand what you're saying, but at the end of the day, that team was dominant against the same Bengals offense that came up and put 17 points on them in the first half, and some of it was because of the ineptitude of the offensive side of the ball as well. It was 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out. And so they've been playing solid defense all year long, and you can't sit here and tell me that they haven't.
Well, it's in spots they have, but you look at you want to talk about how the defense have played better in the second half of the games. The last 4 games, the defense has been playing better, and the offense has been playing better. It's the first half of the last 4 games. The Patriots are minus 49 in the last 4 games. In the first half. And in the second half, they're plus 39. The problem is they're so bad in the first half, they can't overcome their mistakes in the second half.
The Bengals dropped a touchdown pass in the second half. The guy who would have had his third one, I can't remember what his name was, Max something or other.
Irvin.
Thank you. They also had a pick 6, so you're not going to see Joe Burrow have again. So, I mean, defensively, yeah, when you look at the numbers, look at the stats, they did it. I wonder, though, when I look at, okay, be conservative because you know you have a good defense. Is that what's going on with this team? Or more likely, are you being conservative because you know you're not going to be able to accomplish much offensively and you have a good defense? I think it's the latter.
I think it's all of it.
I think it's less, hey, we're trying to set up our defense here and more. We'll probably screw it up. Let's get it to the defense.
Well,